The Talk Shop from Studio 255 in the Laramie Plains Civic Center, proud to bring you Laramie Jubilee Day schedule in full, and you can tune in to the Talk Shop Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. And this going to be brought to you by Sun Valley Rides LLC. They're the ongoing carnival ride midway at Laramie Jubilee Days. Worked with Steve Matfeld for a decade, and it's most enjoyable to work with a man who thinks about family, thinks about Laramie as friends. And the Laramie Jubilee Days committee continue to work with Sun Valley Rides. And Steve, thank you for your service to the Gem City, and that the dates next week, just ahead. Next week, this week, Freedom has a birthday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Washington Park. That's July 4th. July 5th, the Shirley Lilly Memorial Kids Horse Show. That event with deadline has passed, June 27th, for entries to the Kids Horse Show. Those and other forms available at Martindale's Western Store for a period of time in historic downtown Laramie. If you're looking to get involved with something for the whole family, consider the Shirley Lilly Memorial Kids Horse Show. It's one of those opportunities that they're special, they're unique, and whether you're a 1-year-old or a 16-year-old or any in between, one of the things that you can enjoy is the entertainment and the special bond between these kids and their horses, and all of those supporting parents and help and volunteers that make that event possible. That's just Friday and Saturday, folks, this week, part of Laramie Jubilee Days. That message brought to you in the public interest by Sun Valley Rides. Sun Valley Rides and Windmill Hill Greenhouse. Windmill Hill Greenhouse for your houseplants, perennials, bushes, shrubs, trees, annuals, products that support the beautification of your yard, your home, your space. Perhaps like downtown, in the historic downtown Laramie, you see the big pots of flowers and such. Those, many of, from Windmill Hill Greenhouse. Benny, thank you for your service, years of service to the Gem City as well. Laramie, City of Laramie, your annual drinking water quality report now available online. You can check that information out for the 2024 year at cityoflaramie.org/2024 CCR. We have a QR code for you to scan on the Talk Shop page. We'll continue to do this message in the public interest, and we'll also share with you that you can receive a printed version of this report by contacting the City of Laramie Utility Division at 307-721-5280. We thank the City of Laramie for that ongoing report done annually. It's an interesting piece. I suggest everyone take a look at it. Now, with the City of Laramie City Council meeting agenda preview, Brett Glass. Good morning, Brett.
Good morning, Eric. This is your preview of what will happen on Tuesday night at the Laramie City Council meeting. Today, it will be July 1st, and so it's going to be a regular meeting, not a work session. It's going to be in the council chambers at 406 Ivinson Avenue. It will start at 6:30 p.m., and prior to that, at 6:15, they're going to set the agenda, or at least consider the agenda. And so it's worthwhile sometimes to be there for that if you're going to attend. Both the pre-meeting and the actual meeting are also available on YouTube, and they're also available by Zoom. If you're interested in commenting to the council, then you'll want to get on the Zoom call or come in person. The Zoom link is in the agenda on the City Council website, and the City Council agendas are all available on the website at cityoflaramie.org/agenda center. And you scroll down to City Council, and you can find the latest agendas there. So this is what the City Council is going to be doing this coming Tuesday night. As usual, the meeting will be called to order. They'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. They'll do a roll call. They'll allow for public comment on non-agenda items, things you want to make City Council aware of, but things that aren't being considered at the meeting. And this is always a good thing. If you have an issue that you want to bring before council, this is a good time to do that. After that, they will formally set the agenda, and they'll consider changes to the agenda, including removing items from what they call the consent agenda. Now, the consent agenda, which I sometimes call the rubber stamp agenda, is a list of items that are approved without any discussion, and everyone just votes yay or nay on this whole long list of items. So if you don't want one of those items to be rubber stamped with no discussion, it's a good idea to mail council in advance if you can, but if you can't, you do get an opportunity to ask us something be removed at that time. So after the agenda is set, we have proclamations and presentations. And there are two proclamations by the mayor that are going to occur on Tuesday night. One of them is Parks and Recreation Month. Just proclaiming, making an official proclamation about parks and recreation. And the second one is of Mosquito Control Awareness Month. And, well, I don't know if awareness is as important as doing something about it, but this is certainly a good thing because mosquitoes are likely to be out in force this July, and with all the wet weather we've been having. And so they're going to issue a proclamation about that. Then there's going to be a public hearing, and the public hearing has to do with a trailer park extending its usual area to allow more room for RVs this summer. It's a temporary use permit to do that. And really not very much controversial there. This is at 1271 Baker Street, which means that essentially it's an extension of the existing trailer park there. If people are concerned about that, they can comment at that time at the public hearing. Next come the announcements, and there's only one announcement listed here on the agenda. It's monthly staff recognition. Every month, the city announces an MVP and gives sort of accolades to someone who works within the city bureaucracy, and this month is Spencer Katuri, the senior accountant for the city. So let's see. Disclosures, and next come disclosures and conflicts of interests, if there are any. There usually aren't. And then comes the approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda doesn't have very much that's controversial on it this time. There are a lot of minutes that are going to be accepted. There are a lot of payments that are going to be made, which the city owes and has to pay. They call those vouchers, and that's what that's about if you see it on the agenda. Cemetery deeds. People need cemetery plots in the city cemetery. They will do 2 of them at that time. And there's a grant proposal to Firehouse Subs for a public safety grant. Firehouse Subs recently opened in town, and I guess when you have a local branch of the chain in your community, you can ask for money for public safety, and the corporation will give you some money for various things. This is apparently for personal protective equipment. Well, nothing bad about that if a corporation wants to give us money, so long as they don't expect anything special in return. So by all means, we might as well apply for that. A couple of other things. Liquor licenses, minor corrections to the municipal code, and let's see, another liquor license and scheduling of meetings. And I'll get to that at the end because there's another item which also relates to that. They're basically going to schedule meetings for the rest of the summer on various topics, and this is of interest to the public because you may want to be around for those. So I'll get to that toward the end of my little presentation here. So anyway, that is the consent agenda. Again, nothing terribly controversial about that, and they're probably just going to approve it, rubber stamp it, and then move on to the regular agenda. On the regular agenda, there is an enterprise agreement with Environmental Systems Research Institute, or ESRI, and apparently the city uses a lot of the products of ESRI, including things including various things like GIS databases, and so that's pretty much a routine item. There's an MOU between Albany County, Wyoming, and the City of Laramie for emergency management services in the Emergency Operations Center. That, again, is not controversial. We certainly want that building, which lies between City Hall and the county courthouse, to serve both the city and the county, and apparently this is an MOU talking about how that's done. And then item 13 on the agenda, award of contract for the purchase of 32 holophane decorative pedestrian lights for the 3rd Street Beautification Project. Now, this one is interesting. We've been talking for a long time about beautification of 3rd Street, especially as the state repaves it. And one of the things that apparently has degraded and is really in need of fixing is the row of street lights that goes through town between Clark Street and Sheridan Street. And according to the city, the decorative lights along 3rd Street between Clark and Sheridan have degraded to the point where the integrity of the poles is presenting a safety concern. So yes, this is a concern. They really need to do something about this. And so they've gone out to a company called Omnia, which is a cooperative purchasing group that obtains equipment for cities, and they've gone ahead and reviewed proposals from that group, and the city management has settled on a bid that they would like to go ahead and accept. But if you take a good look at the bid, there is some question here about whether it's a good idea for them to accept it. They're buying 32 streetlights. And this is a bulk purchase. This is not a small purchase. And yet they're paying more than $4,000 per light uninstalled. Now, if you take a look online at the prices of streetlights, most of them don't cost anywhere near $4,000. I understand we're going along a state highway. We want these to be decorative. We want them to be nice. But the public may want to chime in on whether the council ought to accept this bid.
Is timing critical to this particular consideration? I mean, is there a need to rush forward with timing for the labor installation or some other efficiency, some other economy where the savings might be greater based on doing it now versus perhaps in the future?
Well, as far as I know, these street lights are attached to the sidewalk, not the street, so the repaving isn't a time concern.
Right.
And this is being done by the city, not by the state. So the timing doesn't really relate to the state's project, unless they have to redo the wiring, in which case they might have to redo some of that before the pavement is laid down.
What did you find for the general price of street lights generally?
A few $100s for the head at the top, even if you wanted one that was shielded so that it did not send light up into the sky and cause light pollution, which is a good thing. We want to be able to see the Milky Way, if not from town, at least from near town. And the poles vary widely depending on what you need. Obviously, the concern here about the old ones is that the poles are deteriorating. We don't want cheap ones, but $4,000 is more than the price of a good used car. And we're buying 32 of them. That's a bulk purchase. One would think that you get a better deal on this. So the only comment that I think the public might want to make on this item is this a good deal, or should we reject all the bids and look farther?
Yeah, good consideration. Thank you, Brett.
And so anyway, that's the item number 13 on the agenda. Item number 14 is, again, the temporary expansion of the RV park. Item number 15 is a resolution amending appropriations for the fiscal year budget. And this is basically budgeting including in our budget a grant that the city received. And then that's it for the main agenda. After that, there are public comments on non-agenda items. Any hardy members of the public who've stuck it out to the end of the meeting get a chance to comment. And then there is consideration of future work session and meeting topics. And this is, it comes at the very end of the meeting, but it is very interesting. Basically, it's consideration of what City Council is going to be doing this summer. And if you look ahead, the City Council is going to have work sessions on things like sidewalks and whether they're ADA friendly. There are going to be 2 sessions having to do with what to do with the rental money from rental licensing. As you know, the city has started licensing every residential rental property in the city, and has essentially pocketed the money and done nothing with it. It hasn't done anything with it to benefit the majority of tenants in Laramie. So this is going to be an interesting discussion. They've actually scheduled 2 work sessions about that. I think that the public should definitely chime in because it's raising our rents, and we should certainly talk about what we're getting for it. There is discussion coming up later in the month, July 22nd, on what to do about trailer and camper and boat parking. A lot of people complain that people are leaving their trailers and campers and boats on the street all the time, and they find that to be a nuisance when they're trying to turn the corner and they can't see around a big trailer or camper. Just in general, they don't like to see that thing parked on the street all the time. There are some questions about what the city's policy should be about that, so that's also coming up as a topic. And let's see. Another concern which they're talking about, and this is a little bit farther in the future, is the community partner funding process. Right now, the city gives money to a whole lot of nonprofits and to some other organizations which are supposedly nonprofits, but it signs fee-for-service contracts with them. And there's some question about whether that process is being done in the best way. So there's going to be a meeting later in the summer having to do with that. And that's what I see here of interest on this list of future meetings. If folks are interested in having something considered that is not on this list, such as parking, for example, which is nowhere on this list other than the trailer and camper and boat parking item. There's nothing about parking permits, parking downtown, things like that. Then the public may want to chime in and ask that there be work sessions on this, because right now there's nothing coming.
In addition to historic downtown Laramie parking, which has been a focal point of 2024 council activity, and 2025, it seems to be ramping up for consideration again. I would actually like to see the city permit parking rules and guidelines ordinance 1142 be examined a little bit further with maybe greater leniency and allowance for all taxpayers in the city, all visitors and guests, to have some relief in parking in Zone A areas, which are designated residential living areas bordering the University of Wyoming. It presently comprehensively excludes all taxpayers. If you don't live there, you can't park there. Yep. And that to me, there's a one-page explanation and specification page that's available at the City Hall, 406 Ivinson Street. But I would like to see Chapter 2. First of all, what are we doing with respect to parking? What things are being engaged? And know that one of the considerations under review and being surveyed and with public comments being opportunities being available to make public comments is some abatement of green space. We're looking at Depot Park. We're looking at changing our historic Depot Park to have more asphalt, have more concrete, have more paved space for parking versus green space. Brewfest, imagine it on concrete versus the green space that we've enjoyed for years. We used to have what was to the south of Depot. We used to have that green space to the north entirely. That chunk taken out. I'm not contesting that it's not valuable. It's definitely valuable. But we really need to have more discussion, not less, as soon as possible, not later. And that would be my comment with regarding areas of parking interest in the community. And perhaps we have a fee. It's interesting too. You don't buy your property and receive this fee. You pay $12 annually for this ordinance 1142 authorization to park outside your property.
Yes. Well, the block that I'm currently living on actually has permit parking, so I'm very, very much up on the parking.
You're a resident of that zone. How do you feel about it? Is it fair to all citizens in your eyes?
Well, it's sometimes useful, but it does have, the system does have some bugs. First of all, it only applies during the day. And so someone can arrive toward the end of the day when they're not going to send out enforcement, and then park all night. If it's the beginning of a weekend, they don't enforce it on weekends, so they can park all weekends. So its efficacy at giving you a parking space in front of your home is not that great.
Doesn't Laramie have a 36-hour ordinance generally throughout the community where if you call in, the enforcement can engage in enforcement?
This is separate from the permits, but yes, it does. You can call in. If someone is parking in front of your home for a long time, you can call the city. They will sticker the car, and after a few more days, they can go ahead and ticket and possibly remove it. But that can take as long as a week to happen.
Okay.
So it's a long-term thing. Only if someone literally just moves in and keeps their car there and doesn't move it for practically the entire week. But there is a concern about residents being able to have a place to park, especially since there are a lot of houses and certainly apartment buildings where there isn't sufficient off-street parking. Sometimes there isn't any off-street parking, so you do need to park on the street somewhere near where you live. And so this is a constant tug of war. Because the permit parking doesn't apply on weekends and on evenings, on game days, you still can have people coming from all over and fighting for spaces in the residential areas around the university. Right now, there's no permit zone for downtown, so downtown residents are constantly having to shuffle their cars needlessly. They do park in the city lots, but they have to move them every day or two because their tires get chocked, and if they don't move them, then they're, for a day or two, they're ticketed. Their car is considered to be abandoned. And that's not a good thing. I think that perhaps if there's one place where we should have permits, it's for the residents downtown. There's been concern voiced on city council that if they issue the permits, the residents might overflow the lots. But the fact is, they're parking there now. They're just moving their cars frequently. The lots aren't overflowing, so that isn't a real problem. But yeah, parking is always going to be controversial. But I think that we should have a wiser policy, and I definitely think that we should have more discussion.
You mentioned that 1142 ordinance regulates day parking primarily versus enforcement at night.
That is correct.
Right?
At 5 o'clock at night, someone can park all night.
Isn't that actually counter valuable to? That's exactly opposite of what I would need as a resident. Okay, if I'm a resident, I need my parking overnight in proximity to my home. I think that's reasonable. In day use, it seems that the rotation would be more valuable publicly, greater good of the greater mass of people would be, the greater number of people would be benefited by a movement that happens through the day. So perhaps there's some consideration of flipping, make the space. Or I just go back to, simply said, taxpayer money paid for all of these streets and roadways, and people knew about the proximity of where they bought homes to campus when they purchased. Didn't you know that the University of Wyoming was there since the 1800s?
Yeah, well, those are all concerns, and then your one I think about the timing is especially valid. Perhaps the city didn't feel like they wanted to enforce it at night, and so they made the restriction only during the day, when in fact people need the parking in front of their homes more at night.
Brett Glass, you and I are not going to solve this problem alone. One of the things that we have to encourage is you, the public, the listener, getting involved. Please attend your city council meetings. They're in this Tuesday slot, weekly, whether they're a work session or a regular session, they alternate. They're very important, and very important matters get discussed. Millions of dollars often in a week get considered. Thousands of dollars this Tuesday will be considered for pass.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Now, so you're at a juncture where you have to look in the mirror, folks. And just recently, not always the issue that concerns you, but perhaps in recent memory, those matters are of heightened concern. Be involved consistently. Stay involved. Stay in tune. You can view each city council meeting interactively through Zoom, and you need to make that visit to the Agenda Center of City of Laramie and find the HTML link, and it will give you a hyperlink to go in by Zoom, and it give you all the instructions you need via that. But just because it gives it to you there doesn't mean that the Talk Shop's not invested in helping you get there. So in upcoming shows, we would like to offer you one of our luncheons, a Talk Shop luncheon. We'll revisit it. We had one in February, one in January. We're looking to do one this month. It's July tomorrow. And in July, the 7th month of our year, we're going to introduce the opportunity with a presentation, and we hope that you will join us. And we invite City Council, please join us. City staff, please lead us. Show us how simple getting involved really truly can be, and make that educational awareness expand. Make it broad. Let's grow together. This is Laramie and the City of Laramie City Council Preview, brought to you by Brett Glass and the Talk Shop. Today, just part of that effort. Thank you. Brett?
Yes. Well, thank you, Eric. Everyone have a great week, and I will see everyone in the park at Freedom Has a Birthday on July 4th.
10 a.m. this Friday, Washington Park.